Hey friends, I have this little board. It's about a 6" by 4". I'm going to paint it black to start with. I'm not going to paint all the way to the edges. And then I'm going to dry that. And then I forgot to drill my holes, so I'm going to go back and drill my holes. And then I'm going to take some Waverly chalk paint in the plaster shade and give it a coat of paint over the black and dry that. And then once I'm finished with that, I'm going to sand it. And then I'm ready to do my stenciling. So I place my stencil and I'm using Sweet as Can Be for this one. And I'm just going to stencil that on in black. I'm not going to stencil on the little bee because I'm going to make my own bee. So I give it 2 coats of black paint and then I go back and use that little eyeliner brush to cross all those bridges. Once I finished crossing all the bridges, then I'm going to put the sign to the side, and I have this little package of mini carrots that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to use one of these carrots, and I'm going to use this to make my bee. So I remove the top of the carrot, and then I have this little wooden bead. I'm going to paint that. That's going to be the top of the bee. And then I'm going to paint my carrot with the white chalk paint. Now, painting the carrot with the white will help the yellow cover better. So it's important to get that base coat with that white chalk paint. So I painted the whole thing white, and then I'm going back with my yellow. I didn't use a bright yellow. I think the color was called King's Gold. That's what I used. And then I glue the top of my bee on, his little head. And then it's time to paint my stripes. So I go back with the black paint and just paint all of my little stripes on my bee. The only thing that I forgot to do was grunge my bee up. I don't know what I was thinking, but I completely forgot to do that. But he turns out really cute anyways. So I had to dry in between, and then I just kept painting my lines on. And then I'm going to set him to the side, and I'm going to use this wire. And I am just twisting around the eyeliner brush to make little antenna for him. And I'm going to glue that in the top of the bead. Isn't that cute? He's cute just like that, and he doesn't even have his wings yet. So then I'm using that same wire, and I'm going to just fashion some little wings for him. And I just kind of played with it, and I did 2 wings on each side and got it the way that I wanted it. And then just put that over to this side, and then I'm going to go back to my sign here, and I'm going to add some of the dark sealing wax, and then I decided to just go ahead and wax the whole thing with my Minwax. And then I put my wire hanger on, and I cut it where I wanted it, and then I used the needle nose pliers to just fashion the top of my hanger, and I think that looks really cute just like that. So then after I was done with that part, I took some Spanish moss and I added some Spanish moss to the corner of my sign, and I glued my bee down. And then I took a little bit of greenery and a little bit of these little yellow flowers, and I glued them around my bee as well because I thought he needed some flowers too. And that's basically all that I did. Thank you for watching.